Well, hello there and welcome back to the channel. Some time ago, Darkflow Software added the Machine and Carabiner 42 from Haenel company into the game. So I unlocked it, played a little bit with it, and now I can tell you if it's worth your time or not. But before we jump into that, as on this channel I tend to talk a little bit about the history of the stuff that I want to show you. So I'm going to take you through the history of a rifle that later became known as the STG a little bit in this video. If you're not interested in that, there are timestamps, chapters in this video, so you can just skip this part and jump straight into the gameplay and see if the MKB42 is worth your time or not. But if you're interested in a little bit of a background on this thing, then yeah, stick around. So, before the Second World War started, a lot of nations fiddled around with something called an intermediate cartridge. An intermediate cartridge is something that is a sweet spot between a submachine gun or machine pistol and a rifle or a machine gun, basically, that has the rifle cartridge in it. But when the Second World War broke out because of the Germans attacking Poland and doing other stuff anyway, when the Second World War broke out, a lot of nations decided like, okay, this is cool, but we don't have time for this anymore. We have to produce rifles and basically the stuff we already know that works and is going to work properly. We don't have a lot of time to prototype stuff and like make a big change for the basic army rifle to be something else. But Germans didn't completely drop that program. But it was definitely slowed down because of the, well, war breaking out. Anyway, actually the German army was not interested in this rifle at all at first. Just as other nations that decided, hey, produce, let's make the things we know already work, and then we're going to, maybe after the war or something like that, we're going to figure this stuff out. But Luftwaffe was interested. Actually, Luftwaffe was involved in a lot of really cool projects. Anyway, Luftwaffe was interested in this concept of this intermediate cartridge rifle. So they pushed the program forward. And in 1940, basically the round the intermediate cartridge was ready. It was a 7.92 by 33. That's basically called a Kurs cartridge that comes from short. It was a short rifle cartridge. That's it. Actually, you can see behind me what's the difference between a submachine gun, the 9mm, the 7.92 for the bolt action rifles or semi-automatic rifles and machine guns, and in between there's the 7.92 by 33 Kurs cartridge. So the Kurs cartridge was ready by 1940 and it was adopted early in 1941. So in 1941, as this cartridge was adopted, there was a contract made for the Haenel company to create a rifle capable of firing this cartridge reliably. And the rifle was basically seen as a replacement for the MP40, for the submachine gun, for the Kar 98, the bolt action standard issue German rifle, and possibly for the machine gun, for example, the MG34, the light machine gun, sorry. But as the cartridge was adopted in 1940, Haenel actually seen what's coming and they started their design, and they already had a prototype ready as soon as the late 1940 year. And it went under trials. They had to figure out some teething problems and also how to simplify the production process with stamped sheet metal, as it's just, well, easier to produce. Well, maybe not easier, but it's faster and it uses less material that way. So then they wanted to do it like that. And by 1941, the late 1941, this rifle was actually ready basically in this configuration, as you can see on the screen. Although the competition didn't slip this one through and Walter company committed their own design to be tested, it turned out to be really not great. It was overly complicated and it didn't really have anything better than the Haenel one, although it fired from a closed bolt and the Haenel one fired from an open bolt. And later, German military wanted a closed bolt version of the Haenel machine carabiner 42. That later becomes something else. But anyway, if you want to know the difference between the closed bolt and open bolt, I'm not Forgotten Weapons to go into the details in this, and Mr. Ian already has a pretty good video on it, like perfect explanation of how it works, what's the pros and cons of different setups. So go and watch that, and there's going to be the exact video you see here, and there's going to be the link in the description to this video I'm talking about right now, and also to his MKB42 video and the MKB42 from the Walter company video, if you want to see them field stripped and talked about a little bit more in detail. Anyway, as the field tests were over and troops actually really liked the MKB42 from Haenel company, it was accepted into service, and a contract was made to, a production order was made to get 10,000 of them per month. Although Haenel never had the production capabilities for that, and in total only 11,000 of these rifles were produced ever. And actually another interesting part is, like, during the trails, Luftwaffe kinda dropped interest in this rifle, and they pursued a different type of rifle. Maybe you heard about it, the FG42. So they went with that, but as the army seen how good this rifle is, the MKB, the machine carabiner 42 from Haenel, they decided to go with that, and it ended up in the army's hand. All of these rifles were actually made to have as a stock thing the mount for the ZF41 designated marksman optic that you can see on the screen. And as I'm like something around 10,000 years away from unlocking the MP43 on the Normandy campaign, I'm going to just a little bit talk about it. So the army really liked the Walter prototype closed bolt system, and they said to Haenel, hey, these rifles with the open bolt are nice, but we really want the closed bolt operating system inside of them. Please make that change. So as they were producing the MKB42, they decided to, of course, go with what the army said, and they changed the system inside for a closed bolt operating one, and that's what ended up to be the MP43. You might say, machine pistol 43, why? You see, there are some political reasons I don't really want to get into, like just stupid stuff basically. But yeah, the next thing, like the STG name was still not there yet, the Sturmgewehr was still not there yet. No one actually knew what the assault rifle term means. It was not just properly made up yet, so they named the machine carabiner was the closest thing you got, because it was a machine pistol in a carbine rifle caliber, but also the cartridge was shorter, so the machine carabiner, that's like the perfect name before they came up with the Sturmgewehr name. Anyway, as I said, due to some strange political reasons, the one with the closed bolt, actually the proper STG finally, was named the machine pistol 43, but that didn't last for long, and there's a rifle we don't still have in game yet. It's definitely going to come in. The STG 44 was basically the MP43 just upgraded a little bit and renamed finally to the Sturmgewehr 44, pattern 44, basically year 44. But yeah, the thing we see on the screen is as early as STG can get. This is a Sturmgewehr rifle before the Sturmgewehr name was before they came up with the name, right? So this is an STG, a proper assault rifle, just with a different name, and actually like the open bolt operating system, you might say like, okay, maybe, well, strange, kind of like a submachine gun, but not really. Only submachine guns work like that. But yeah, in 43 they came up with the STG with a closed bolt system that was named the MP43, and then they finally named it the STG 44 in the year of 44. So, as we have the history of this thing covered, now let's talk about it a little bit in game. Actually, quick side note for the other wearables, if you think that Germans were the first to come up with this concept and adopt a Sturmgewehr rifle, an assault rifle, basically, there's this Fedorov automat that Russians accepted into service and put into service in 1943, that is considered around the world like the first assault rifle to be ever accepted into service properly in large numbers, as large numbers go. This one fired a 6.5mm cartridge, Japanese from Arisaka rifles, I think, something like that, and it looked like this, but we don't have this one in game yet. So maybe one day. Also, Darkflow Software, if you're listening to this, we already have the alternative versions of already accepted into service firearms in the premium squad hands. So, you know, probably one day we will see a premium squad for like $60 or something. That's a stupid price, but we will probably see a premium squad with the Walter STGs. But yeah, anyway. Now in game, this rifle comes in on level 31 of the Aegis campaign. You get it with a tier 3 sniper squad, so you at this point you have 3 sniper squads, and that's exactly what you should actually do. You should use 3 sniper squads, fill them up with the snipers tier 3 and level them up, and give every single one an MKB42 with the ZF41 scope, and that's all you need to have fun in this campaign, to be honest. Especially that in this squad you can have 1 engineer and 1 submachine gunner if you choose your perks properly during the progression of the squads. So you have the possibility to build rally points, ammo points, and other stuff. You have the possibility, if you really actually need to, you don't really need to be honest, but if you want a submachine gunner, you can have a submachine gunner in that squad, and you have 3 snipers in this when it's fully upgraded. So 3 guys with actually like Sturmgewehr rifles, 1 guy with some kind of a submachine gun, and 1 engineer to build stuff. And if you think this gun is good, the MKB, the Machine Carabiner 42, is it good? Like, I think it's the best rifle in the game so far, because you have the optics that are not too, like, this is a designated Mark 1 optic, so you can actually take long range shots quite accurately at the enemies if you need to. Mid-range, this thing dominates, and in CQB it's good enough. Of course, in CQB the Russians with their PPDs with drum max on level 11 unlockable, or even later with the Pepeshas and stuff like that, they're going to dominate the CQB area. But this rifle has high enough hit power and good enough fire rate that you can defend yourself properly in a CQB situation, even against a Pepesha. So it all comes to the point when who fired first. That's it. So it's good enough for CQB. It dominates mid-range, and long range you can actually snipe people with the scope. Actually, the scope comes in handy even in mid-range to follow up your shots properly. And with the properly upgraded snipers that have the vertical or horizontal recoil perk, like, god damn. Also, you want to have the large ammo pouches, so you can have 150 rounds extra. So in total, with the ones in the magazine, you have 180 rounds per soldier. Other than that, yeah, I don't know what to say. It's so late in the campaign that when you unlock it, you play with it a little bit, and then you have nothing else to do in that campaign, so you'll actually properly play another campaign to unlock stuff. But anyway, one more note before we jump into the game. This is marked as an MKB42 sniper version, so we can. I'm pretty sure we will get an MKB42 for assaulters in when the campaign will be extended a little bit more. Okay, but I already talked long enough. Now let's jump into the game. You probably want to see how this thing works in the game. So I have one game, really good game, really I think something around 160 kills, and almost all of them were made with this, and also a really close game. So pretty balanced, to be honest. So without further ado, this is kind of like a no commentary stuff with this. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, consider leaving a like, maybe even a subscribe button. You know, it's right there. So yeah, without further ado, enjoy.
You know the rules, and so